Today we're talking about how to buy a used car. It doesn't matter if this is your first time car shopping, or if your old car was wrecked or stolen, or even if you just haven't been car shopping in a while, we're going to cover everything you need to know to feel confident about buying a used car. Hi, I'm John, and I love all cars. Yes, all cars. Today, I want to help you get a great deal on an awesome used car. And if you stick around to the end, I got a bonus tip for you to help you not get sued next time you sell a car. The first thing you need to do before you start car shopping is figure out how much money you have to spend on a used car and what type of car is going to be best for you. You need to think about, what am I going to use this car for and where do I live? Maybe it's not a car you're looking for. Maybe it's a truck or an SUV. You got to consider what you're using it for. Are you going to drive it around in traffic? Are you going to work every day? Or are you going to take this up and four-wheel in the mountains? Or do you want a summertime car that's fun in the sun, like a convertible? Sometimes you won't get much of a choice on extra features such as color or stereo or maybe even fog lights. You might want to think about how much it's going to cost to upgrade this car to be what you want it to be. Sometimes you'll be able to buy a more inexpensive car and then you could just add things to it and make it exactly what you want. So don't get hung up too much on little features or even colors. Now that you know what you're looking for, where do you look? Facebook Marketplace, Craigslist, and OfferUp are three great options. Or you could put on your white New Balances, you can grab an Auto Trader, and you might be able to find the 1963 Corvette of your dreams. When you're looking for a used car, you might notice that there's several different places that you can purchase used cars from. Some of these places include roadside lots, new car lots, and private sellers. When you're looking for a car, you might notice that there's several different places you can actually purchase a car. One of these places is a roadside lot or a used car dealership. Usually these lots have auction cars, and sometimes these cars are purchased in a group deal. They might not have a specific value for that particular car. They're just going to try to get as much as they can out of every car they sell. New car lots will have certified pre-owned cars, and these certified pre-owned cars have had an inspection done on them. But you're going to want to remember that this inspection was done by an in-house mechanic at this dealership. And remember, these guys do this for a living, and they're definitely not your friend. Finally, my favorite place to get a great deal is from a private seller. This way you get to talk to the previous owner, gauge the way that they may have treated the vehicle, and if you meet them at their house, you might get a chance to look at the way that they treat their other belongings as well. And usually, these guys aren't career car salesmen. Once you've found a few options, you can go ahead and make a phone call or a few messages. You can ask some questions about the car and the condition, or you could just ask them the availability. And at this point, some people like to try to haggle, but it's not my favorite because I prefer to haggle when I can see the car in person and I can judge what I'm actually looking at. It's always a great idea to have a friend or a mechanic go with you. You're going to need a ride anyways, because if you purchase the car, you're going to want to just drive straight home. And if you have access to an OBD2 scanner, it's always a great idea to bring this with you. That way you can check all the fault codes on the car or see if they've cleared any codes. A nice little tip is to go to an auto parts store, and a lot of times these guys will have a loaner unit and they'll actually give you a printout telling you all of the faults with the vehicle. And it's totally fair to say, hey, this part is wrong with the car. How about this much off? You're always going to want to test drive the vehicle you're looking at. There's a lot of things you can feel in the steering wheel or the gas pedal or even the brakes that you won't be able to tell from the passenger seat. If the owner of the car insists that they drive the car and you ride, I would just pass on that car. It seems like he's trying to hide something, or maybe they're just not all that honest. And if you do decide to buy the car, now's the time to haggle. Now that you know the condition of the car, and if there's something that they didn't explain in the ad, it's always fair to ask for a little price off. Now don't go lowballing people. You're never going to get a good deal being rude. You just want to take the stance that you're just justifying the value of the car and its worth. Just remember, you always get more flies, better cars with honey. Finally, now it's time to pay for the car and sign for the car. It's okay to accept a handwritten bill of sale. It's perfectly acceptable. You're just going to want to check their signature against their ID and make sure that they are actually the legal owner of that car. Never accept a car without a clear title. An affidavit in lieu of title is perfectly okay, although if I was in the situation with an affidavit, I would prefer to sign the car over at the DOL. That way, if there's any problems along the way, you could just work it all out right there in person. And make sure that you insure the car before you drive home. You don't want to get into an accident on your way home and be responsible for your car and the car you got in an accident with without insurance. And if you didn't buy the car from a lot or a dealer, you're going to want to go to the DOL and register the car in your name. Time for a bonus tip. When you're selling a car, make sure that you release interest in that vehicle. This makes sure that you're not liable for that vehicle in the future. I sold a truck a few years ago, and after a few months, I had lawyers sending me messages and giving me phone calls saying that I'm responsible for this truck that was in an accident with 2 other vehicles. Now, I released interest in that car and I had proof. I had the paperwork in a PDF, so I emailed that to them and I never heard from them again.